What's up, y'all? Welcome back for another episode of Technically Athletic. This is part 2 with my brother Mike Lombard. If you didn't listen to part 1, please go back and listen to part 1 of this interview. And if you like it, please hit the subscribe button if you're watching this on the YouTube. And if you're listening to this on the audio platforms, please give us a 5-star rating and review. We greatly appreciate it so we can have more people tuning in. Now, enjoy part 2 of the interview. Thank you. No clearance. So, you get recruited. What schools was recruiting you, man?
I heard from about 50 or 60 schools. It felt like, or probably actually it was, yeah. Because at the time, right, because basketball was still in the picture too.
Facts.
So I still had it in my mind that I was going to go play basketball. Or if anything, I gotten to the point now where I was like, I like football enough now where I'd consider playing it at the next level. And so it was either looking at being like a D1AA walk-on. So like I heard from like UNH, UMaine, URI, like those schools is kind of like a preferred walk-on as a D end. I heard from every single NE10 school. Honestly, mostly all of them for D end as well. They wanted me to convert from stand-up backer to hand in the ground. And then, kind of at the D3 level, it was hearing from not only just kind of in-region schools, but, kind of nationally, like a lot of D3 schools for football and basketball together, if I wanted to do that, or just basketball or football siloed. So that was stressful, man. I didn't realize, it's kind of like be careful what you wish for, right?
Yeah.
You're going to reap what you sow. And by the time I was like going through the recruiting process, I just wanted it to end.
Oh, wow.
Like your phone's constantly ringing, all the texts. It's too much.
Yo,
Can't imagine what it's like for
Yeah,
kids.
Yeah,
apps and stuff now where
I really only had like 3 schools, and I was getting like them coaches was blowing me. I'm like, it's like senior year. I'm just trying to enjoy my senior year. Like you be at the basketball games, getting the call. Like the coaches call us. I feel you on that, man. What was? Did you take visits? I mean, I know you took visits, but like,
yeah, I took visits to. Well, I've done indirect visits to UNH.
indirect,
but I think my officials. Yeah, so I mean, like I'd been up at the school so many times, like I already knew, and I knew a couple of people who played on the team at that time anyway, so they were kind of like giving me, the lay of the land. But I think the official visits I did were St. A's, Assumption, a school called Endicott, Keene State, and Union College out in New York. Those are like the 5 I know were official visits.
Do you have any crazy, official visit stories that can be told?
I don't know about what can be told, but I mean, so at the time I was coming out, I mean, the school, Keene State, they don't have a football team, so I was solely looking to go play basketball there. That was, I saw some stuff.
Party school, right?
It's a very big party school, but like also because the basketball team was very, very good. I mean, shout out to the St. A's basketball players. They can kind of get the vibe of what it was like at Keene State for those basketball players. Life was good for them, and so I ended up getting handed off. I mean, I didn't really understand it at the time, but my host, he handed me off to one of his teammates, and then he left for the night, and I kind of, I didn't really think about it at the time, but I mean, y'all know when we held recruits, we were trying to offload them as often as we could, unless it was a high priority guy. You were trying to get you didn't want to recruit with you.
Sucks.
So same for me.
Got you. Now tell me about your visit to St. A. Like, how was that?
Yeah. So shout out to Matt Gordon.
Dang,
Gordo. It was very interesting because St. A's actually wanted me as a DN too. So when I came for my overnight, they had all the recruits playing pickup basketball. And so, at the time, since I was very competitive with basketball, I was, for lack of a better term, just shitting all over the recruits at the time. And so I think at the time, Tony Johnson, he was one of the, I think he was the tight ends coach, but I think he ended up leaving right before I committed. But him and Coach Murph asked me if I could, if I could catch. So I was like, yeah, I can catch. And so we were doing routes on air after in the gym, which I'm not sure you're allowed to do, but sorry Murph, but yeah, so I was running routes and they asked me what my opinion was on playing tight end. And that was kind of like my dream to do it. I mean, I loved playing defense for sure, but at that point in my athletic life, I wanted to be a little bit more versatile and like actually play on offense and get something different. So I was like, yeah. So I ended up narrowing it down to 2 schools by the time I committed at St. A's, one being St. A's, the other one Endicott, to play also tight end there in basketball.
That's fire. So what made you decide like, yo, St. A's where I'm going?
Money.
Yes.
Money
yes,
talks.
Yes.
Nah, but I mean, like, in comparison to Endicott, nothing against Endicott. I think you can get a good education anywhere depending on what you're doing. But the reputation of St. A's, precedes itself. They always say it's like St. C's. It's easy to get in, but it's hard to stay in.
Yeah.
So for me, it was kind of like, A, they're paying me to do this.
Facts.
But then B, it's also a really good school. And then at the time, I mean, looking back on it now, and especially kind of like now knowing some of the friends I met here in Austin, I wish I'd taken potentially a step out of my comfort zone and gone somewhere else, like beyond the region. But at the time, I didn't want to go anywhere where, my father couldn't go to my games, so I was only about 30 minutes from my hometown, which in retrospect, wish I could have done that part a little bit different. Yeah.
At least an hour.
Yeah.
Look, man, there's nothing worse than after the game looking out and none of your family.
Yeah.
You just be like, well, I guess I'm going to go back to my dorm.
Not that bad.
I'm going to go enjoy the night.
It's not that bad.
But I guess, Jay, I mean, but you're right.
I hate it when my family went to my games. They all be drunk in the stands. It's a mess.
Yeah.
Nobody needs it.
Yeah. All right. So for me personally, freshman year was the worst. Was one of the toughest training camps. Tell me about the transition from high school to college. Yeah, tell me about that first training camp from your point of view, man.
Man, that was terrifying because, I mean, at the time, when we did quote unquote 2-a-days, they split the team in half too.
Yeah.
You had the blue group, you had the white group. Yeah. And so at the time, you didn't really understand, you figured it out pretty quickly what, if you were in the blue group or if you were in the white group. But like for me, I thought I was going to be, I didn't think I'd play right away. I didn't think I'd be involved early. But then when I got there, Coach Murph, when walking through install day one, and then going out to the field and trying to implement and all that. And he had me starting like every single rep. That was terrifying in and of itself, just because, I'm, 4 months ago, I was at prom making out with somebody, and now I'm trying to block a 21, 22-year-old grown-ass man.
Hey.
And that's
facts.
Like, you remember the D-line, like, trying to block Mike Hobbs at that time?
Yeah, he was a psycho.
Psychos.
Yeah. Nah, that was tough, man. Yeah, I remember I think both of us was on the white team, right? And yeah, I know I didn't expect to play, but they was like, just come in shape, make sure you in shape. Luckily, we ain't had to do that conditioning test.
Yeah.
And shout out to Papazian. Was it Papazian or
yeah?
No, who was the other? D'Angelo.
D'Angelo.
That man had damn near had a heart attack during the conditioning test. absolute craziest shit
It's
I
like
ever
a
witnessed.
mile and a half or something like that.
Yeah, we just ran around the parking lot.
don't
It
know.
was we didn't do it. Freshman, we didn't have to do it, but Boone made us watch.
We
He
got to
made the
sleep in.
DBs get up and go watch. Luckily, we was there because we was the first ones to spot this nigga having a freaking heart attack.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too with that camp though is that camp was like
A month.
very long, even by normal camp standards. Like we got in there, I think day one was like August 8th or something like
Yeah.
that. Our last day of camp was like end of August. So we were almost in camp for like felt like a full
Yeah,
month.
it was
crazy.
the longest training camp I ever experienced, and we had to walk up that hill every freaking day.
Oh. However, I was living lavish in Dom 226. Shout out to Dom 226.
Oh yeah.
Single room.
Facts.
So I had no roommate. I had a penthouse suite.
I remember it was right above ours, across the hall.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
so man, you was all rookie team that season, all conference rookie team.
Uh-huh.
What was that season like for you playing against first year and you pretty much in the trenches and no huddle offense? By the way, I know what was that like?
It was, first of all, shout out to fucking like JB, Akeen, and all them too, like Dave Boardman, James Murphy, because like I was in line. Like if my hand was in the ground next to any of them, what play we running? All right, say less. Because Coach Murphy, I didn't know. Hey, I had just figured out how to line up, let alone fully digest the playbook. So for me, it was a lot of reliance on like the upperclassmen. Like, hey, like what am I supposed to do here? Like the base plays, but like then he start, Coach Murphy, he'd start mixing up the route tree, like dos, uno, tre, like going through all like the switching and the combination routes and all that. Trying to pick up on that. I didn't get that really down until like almost the end of my sophomore year when I was even just watching, like after I broke my wrist. But so freshman year, I didn't know anything.
So y'all didn't really have. I mean, y'all had a base package, but he was like kind of making up routes like on the spot. No huddle.
So like we'd have like if he wanted
impressive.
receivers to switch routes, like he'd have like uno, which would be like 1 and 3 would switch. Dos would be 2 and 3. Trace would be 2 and 3. Or yeah. So it would be. It was a lot, man. It was like not only do you have to know like your route, but you got to know their route because he might switch the route combos. All of a sudden, you like, I think I'm running I think I'm running a corner on this.
Play.
Nope, I am now running an out.
That's
on every
crazy.
play. So I'm just figuring out like he's signaling it in from the sideline like doing all the formations and all that.
No,
I'm like,
no wonder
I'm
when
over
we
here.
sucked,
I know
we
that.
sucked, and when we was good, we was good. That shit's so confusing.
Hey, I mean, I won't point fingers or anything. We could always score
can't
points.
comprehend
Hey,
this
look,
shit.
look, the defense. The defense. We was defensively, bruh.
What the fuck?
We just wasn't good. We just wasn't good. Here's the thing, bro.
Yeah.
Our freshman year, we was running that 4-3, and it just didn't work. Man. That 4-3 didn't work at all.
Yeah.
The
Merrimack game made that very apparent.
Yeah,
bruh,
that was rough.
I ain't even gonna act like I played the best, but this ain't about me. I ain't gonna talk about this ain't about me. I ain't gonna act like I played the best, but once we switched, we was a lot better. Like after freshman year, the defense was decent. We was decent.
Yeah,
God dang it.
We had to score 40 just to lose by 20.
Boy.
Oh my goodness.
That was tough. That was a tough year, man. Did you go in with an expectation of like, St. A's a good team, but like like did you know?
No, I went in with I knew the situation with St. A's, but like for me it was like that, I don't know. I wouldn't call it false sense of confidence, but it was like, man, I can be a really big piece of turning this whole thing around.
Okay, yeah, I felt the same way. I felt the same. Okay,
I had no idea.
I didn't think
Shout out to Boone for the
Facts.
brainwash. No, I'm just kidding.
Look, I look. Boone's a good guy, but he wasn't a DB coach.
I
He
love
was not
Boone.
a DB
Yeah.
coach.
He said he was not
all
a
right.
DB
So
coach.
no,
You think?
no, no.
He used to have y'all do.
I don't even know how he's a D. I don't even know how he was a D lineman.
Yo,
He used to
I
have
don't know
y'all doing
either.
the craziest shit.
Yeah, but then the minute he got put through that, when the coaches
Yeah.
had to do the Olympics for winter conditioning,
Right?
damn near died.
yeah.
That
Let's
was still
get
one
into
of my
that, man.
favorite
First winter conditioning.
Ooh.
We going into this, end of
Nightmare.
freshman year. We going sophomore year. The first winter conditioning. Let's hear your
Damn.
experience, man. It's terrible.
For me, it was like for Andrew Murphy, for Carroll, like all like RIP Hopkins, because he got at that time he was I think out of school. But like for the four of us or for the three of us who were still in the program, that sucked for us especially because we had the NE10 rookie team title. So now you had the coaches even more on your ass.
Wow.
Like Coach Murph, like wouldn't let me hear the end of it. Coach Eggs, like everybody, like you saw how Coach Murphy would be with Andrew Murphy, like in season the next year. But like winter condition for me, like man, that was humbling because I was like, damn, I was just all NE10 all rookie. You'd think you'd be nice to me and try and keep me to stay. But no, that's sucks.
I used to look at y'all like, damn, he really going in on y'all.
Yeah.
But I don't care. Nothing will ever prepare you for, we heard like the legends, the legends of infamy about towel pulls.
Nothing. You can't even mentally
that was
like
terrible.
calculate in your mind how that's gonna go, man.
You had to
Especially
cheat to
before
win.
before they changed how towel pools was done. Like the original towel pools was terrible.
It was a fight.
I don't think I ever won freshman year.
It was a fight.
That was it.
There was no rules.
Freshman year, I lucked out. I went undefeated.
Oh, damn.
My freshman year.
Good for you, fam.
You beat me.
And
I went against you.
Yo, you know what? Let me tell you. Well, I swore I wanted, they told me I was going to safety. I was like, I'm gonna do everything Ed Reed do. I would watch Ed Reed like pretty much wear long sleeves and shit in practice. Thinking like, but I'm like, I need to gain weight. That nigga just trying to, I ain't even realize like Ed Reed trying to lose weight.
He's too big.
I'm going to Full Metal Jacket Mondays. That season I was wearing.
You had the t-shirt and the long sleeve underneath.
With the long sleeve underneath, bro. It was terrible. I don't know why I did that.
Well, the other thing that they did too our freshman year that they drastically changed from that point on was they'd split the team in half.
And
have one group lifting and the other group upstairs dying.
Yep.
And then flip it, and then at the end, everyone came together.
After
it made no sense. You can't do Full Metal Jacket and then go lift.
Yeah. You can't do you can't lift and then go do
and at the time, Coach Eggs being the de facto strength coach, shout out to Eggs because Eggs was in there even before we got in there working out. But at the time, I mean, like, felt like every single day we were doing like front squats, back squats, cleans every day. Like, damn, going like the curls.
It was
day?
tough, man. That shit was tough.
It was so hard.
We got through it
been
though.
More sore in my life.
Yeah.
Let's get to spring.
The worst.
Well, go ahead, bro.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say the worst thing after that too, though, would be you come inside, you're expecting Full Metal Jacket Day just in general, and then you hear, "All right, put on your gloves, put on the cleats, going down to the field," and you're like, if there's a God,
that was the worst fucking day.
Freshman year, bro. Yeah, the field was ice. The field was ice that one time.
I'll never forget
and Coach
that
Boone had a rubber ball.
Yeah, and it was white.
Threw it. It said,
was white, and he was throwing it in the snow. I'll never forget it. I'm blind already. He throw the white ball in the snow. Tell me to go look for that shit. I can't fucking see.
He said, "Go find it." He said, "Go find it."
I'm sorry. I got triggered.
No. Yeah, that was one hell of a off season, bro. That was probably for me, I don't know, that was probably the worst one.
That was terrible.
It had
I
to
forgot about that. I had to put that in the back of my subconscious.
Yeah. For me, probably the worst one was my sophomore year because I had just gotten back
Oh yeah.
from my wrist.
He was out of shape.
So I was out of shape and then some.
Yeah.
Trying to get back in shape and dying in winter conditioning.
That's when I was trying to.
Let's talk about something I'm sure you'll enjoy. Spring ball. First spring ball. Let's talk about the first pad practice. I don't know if you remember this, but first play.
Lay it on me.
First play, spring ball, full pass practice. You know what I'm saying? They do play action, tight end out to the flat. Who's out in the flat, Lombard? Who's playing safety? Yours truly.
Some very poor soul.
Lombard catches the ball in the flat. I'm gonna tell you what happened. Okay, okay. I'm running.
I'm glad. Whatever makes you sleep better.
Run and tackle Lombard. Elijah hits him. So Lombard already falling, like coming down. And I was trying to, I ain't want to take his head off. I tried to slow him a little bit, and he just his body just went bam. And I got knocked. I got it. It was bad. I was on my back. I was looking up at the sky.
It was dinner for one, population Tyler.
I ain't let that down that whole off season, bro. Did not let that down. That was funny, man.
All the way to Dombro's wedding party too at the dinner rehearsal.
How was spring ball for you? 'Cause I always enjoy spring ball, but what was your experience with it?
It was honestly, I found it annoying more than anything because it's like I was just starting to get like my feel for the offense a little bit, but then you know how spring ball it's all about really kind of experimentation, and really that's what it was for like Murph trying to figure out like what could we potentially install for the upcoming season. So a lot of the stuff we were doing just kind of like set me back like knowledge wise on like granted we were still kind of like doing the same base offense, but we were spending additional time to like learn like the full house offense and learn all these different things that we wouldn't even use kind of like in the future. So it was like for me, I was annoyed with the fact that like I'm just now getting the offense. Now you're introducing new stuff we might not even use. And now that's like kind of, I felt like set me back in terms of me understanding the rest of what we were doing, like intimately, like, Marcella as an example.
Shout out Marcella. Yeah, dude.
Shout out Marcella. RPI. Offensive coordinator.
Yes, that's crazy, yo. So your sophomore year, bro, as you said, man, you hurt your wrist. That was a long season. You know what I'm saying? How was it, coming back and getting ready for junior year?
Yeah, it was kind of like honestly, I talk about like, wake up call in prep school. I call that really my wake up call in college where, I think the whole reason why I broke my wrist in the first place was probably because lack of preparation I did in the off season where in my mind, I was like, I'm an ND10 all rookie. Like, I'm the number one tight end. And I kind of had the wrong mindset about, the upcoming season. So I wasn't trying as hard. I wasn't prepping as hard. And that showed. I mean, like that conditioning test sophomore year, the first thing, I think I failed it by like a second. And I was like, damn. And then I had to run it again the next morning, but luckily made it. But I mean, it already set the wrong tone. And Coach Murph was already throwing out the guard comments like, move your ass to guard. Well, I don't want that to happen. And then we were doing I forget the name of the drill, but remember when he had everyone kind of doing like, he picked like 4 or 5 guys, he point the direction you'd have to roll, and then you go point to one of the tackle dummies.
I remember that.
Yep.
And there's only like, if there were 5 guys, there were only 4 tackle dummies, and you had to knock, and whoever lost had to do extra conditioning. So honestly, I think karma more than anything, my lack of prep, shout out to JG, Josh Garrett. He was a freshman at the time, ran my slow ass down from behind because I had all this extra weight.
Wow.
And so I got tripped up. Put my hand down to break my fall. Knew something was wrong, but still tried to like play through it. So like another 2 weeks of playing with a broken wrist, and then yeah, found out I was broken and played in the first game, then shut it down for surgery. So that was kind of like my true karma. Lack of prep showed came for me quick.
So how was the off season?
So
I ain't even gonna worry about sophomore year because that was some bullshit too. Yeah. So going into junior year, like what was your preparation for junior year like?
Oh man, it was nuts. I was at it every day. I ended up cutting 30 pounds in the off season.
Did you have a trainer? Did you ever have a trainer?
Yeah. So up until I got to college, but I didn't have a trainer in college. So a lot of it's like at that point what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right. Like so there's more so like putting the challenge on myself, like you need to get your ass in shape. So I ended up cutting a bunch of weight. So I think in the off season, heaviest I got was like 265. Coming in at camp for junior year, I was 232.
But did you have like a secret to cutting it, or was you was just going hard?
Well, I wasn't drinking. That was the other thing too. I wasn't going once the season's over, once winter conditioning's over and all that, you got like every night you can pretty much do something if you want to. But honestly, being home just around my pops more than anything. Like if I wasn't working out, I was very lucky to have him because he was, kicking my ass in gear of like, no, like go run, go do something. Just you're not allowed to be in this house. Yeah. So every single day it was like me just going to. Luckily too, there was a new high school up the road, 5 minutes up the road. They had a 50-yard turf field, so did a lot of stuff there. And then I would lift with my father kind of after. So I was doing about 4 or 5 hours of stuff a day. And then on the weekends, it was pretty much basketball with all my friends. So I got slim very quickly.
Pops was still in the weight room.
Bro, my pops is still in the weight room.
Hey, shut up.
He inclined 275 last time I was home.
I gotta come up and get some steak tips from the man. That man make the best steak tips. I don't care what nobody say. Shout out to that man. So junior year, man. I feel like all of us went hard that off season because we came in.
Yeah,
that was
even I came in shape.
Yeah, that even was.
I still felt it, but I was in the best shape of my life.
But I felt it less.
The best shape of my life.
That was we tied for the best record in school history that year.
Wait, Jay, was that the off season where you were like filming yourself and you put it on Instagram? Like,
no, that was going into senior year, and I wasn't filming myself. That was
okay.
As we call it. She's like, you should put this on Instagram. It's gonna be so cool. She get in your head. I don't want to talk about it.
Nah. The funniest part though it wasn't necessarily the video. It was Dombro of all people shitting on you.
Yo, Dombro. Every conditioning test, this man would go. He would stare me dead eyes. Don't be a fucking hero. And then he'd be the one that failed the condition. I'm like, oh no, he would be the one like sprinting mad harder than me. He'd be the one sprinting harder in the beginning. And then he'd fail.
Dombro fucking snatched my soul one day. I thought I had a small victory over him. A small little sip. I was like, oh, I got a faster start than you. This man goes, oh, I saw it was you and I didn't try. Oh my God.
Shout out to
man.
Shout out to our brother Dombro. Hey, Dombro, we're gonna have you on soon, man. We're gonna have you on soon. So
he's probably dead by
now. Man, what do you so we started that season, man, 5-0. What do you think was the biggest difference as a team? What do you think the biggest difference was between that team and teams of the past?
I think it was just the maturation of the talent. Like Cheever, Cheever was a senior. Lebo was like a super senior. Yeah. You had Walter. Like those were our 3D linemen.
We were stacked. Yeah, we were stacked that year, including myself. It's like,
yeah. Shout out to Hayes.
Oh yeah.
Hayes was killing it as a backer.
Yeah.
The most unassuming athlete
had, like,
ever.
punt
Even in
returns
shape,
and
he didn't
kick
look like an
returns.
athlete. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. What was
Yeah, I think it was just like, I think it was just like all of us were
Everyone flipped the
mature at
switch.
that point. So it was like it finally like caught up.
yeah.
I honestly wish we played AIC first to humble us really quick. But then after that, I think we would have
That's
been
crazy.
AIC was a lot of my fault, but I was sick that day.
I
I
remember.
gotta talk about that. I was sick that
was
day.
sick
I
as a
had the worst
dog.
cold. I shouldn't have played, really. I should have let somebody else play. But anyway, what was your favorite best game? What was your favorite game of that year? What do you remember most?
Of that year. Trying to think.
We had a lot of nail biters. We had a lot of nail biters that year.
Yeah. That wasn't the year we beat Bentley, right? No, that
No,
was the year
no,
after.
that was the year we beat.
Yeah, that's when they
Oh,
started.
was that year? Yeah, okay. That's what I thought. Yeah. I think my favorite memory was that Bentley game. Because after the game, I still have a picture of it, but my mom stormed the field with the player or like with all the students, and somehow like was able to find me like all 5'2" of her, and there's a picture of like her like reaching up at me. She got my number and my last name on the back of her shirt, and like out of everyone, she found me.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how she got through all those people.
That-
That's probably my favorite memory
That's
of
a
that
mother.
season was her finding me in
That's
the
yeah.
crowd. And y'all know my mom. My mom is
That's
crazy.
hilarious.
For those
I
who don't
forgot
know,
she
yeah,
did that.
the year we beat Bentley, that was the first time in school history we ever beat them, like ever. Program been around so what for a little minute then. So yeah, that was nuts, man.
That's crazy.
That was a hell of a game. That was a hell of a game. What was your best game that year statistically? I know the offense. The offense wasn't fair to tight ends, which is tragic.
Yeah, I mean, like, so I wouldn't say I had a best game like stat wise. I'd say like the game I was like most dialed in was probably the win we had against Southern Connecticut on the road.
Yeah, overtime.
I was probably that was like just in terms of just opening up hole, like actually doing my job, like what was being asked of me, like being able to actually, by that point I was pretty good at understanding like the fronts and understanding who I was actually supposed to be blocking. I'd say that was probably the biggest or best game for me that season, just in terms of, I think the game-winning touchdown came off of my whole me and I think it was James Murphy at the time. I think he was right tackle. So it was the two of us opening up the hole for Alad to go through to score for that game winner.
That was a hell of a game too. Golly, that 6-5 season, like
it's crazy.
That
was a good team.
Starting off the year 5-0. Really shout out to all of them, man. I'm trying to get a lot of them on here, but how did you? I mean, we started 5-0, so like going on that losing streak, like how did it was?
Nowhere
it was
to go
hard
but
to
down.
take that.
Trying to
like
keep
how
our
did you?
going and everything.
Yeah, I mean, I was doing the same thing. Like my routine was very, very on brand for me. Like every Thursday, I was going to the Texas Roadhouse, have a couple margaritas, have a steak, order the same thing, order the same amount, pay the same price.
Go to restaurants by yourself too.
to the day, to the day. I still do it.
I see. Mary,
it's my favorite pastime.
That's fire. I gotta give you.
Well, it's like I don't know. It's a good thing for me to like collect my thoughts. I just I could sit in in my apartment all day, but like you need to see something else. So I'd rather not talk to people in public rather than just not talk to people by myself.
Hey, at least you can people watch. You know what I'm saying? Get your food,
honestly, that's mainly it too.
Drink your marks. You've always been a margarita guy, bro. So what is it about the margarita?
Yeah. It's the tequila, man. It's good. Just although I've switched gears, though, tequila is still up there for me. But I've gravitated more towards mezcal.
That's what I've heard about mezcal.
Isn't that just
That's what I can
tequila?
It's smoky. It's kind of like the whiskey version.
You
of
the one
tequila.
told me about mezcal. That's right. I'm supposed to get into that, man.
Dumbass.
I'm supposed to get into that. All right, real quick, man. Senior year that was painful. For me, when we lost Yanni, when we lost our quarterback, that kind of killed our chances with that season.
And I was right there when it happened.
Yeah.
I could seeing that hit in real time, even before Yanni stayed down. Like I thought he was going to get back up, but like in that moment, like when he got hit, my first thought was, "Damn!" Like that is for a quarterback to take that hit. I was like, "That's not good." I hope he gets up. Did not get up.
Damn.
I was like, this is not good.
Yeah,
he had a rough. That was a rough year.
Although that was my favorite game from a stat standpoint because I had that big ass, 36-yard bolt across the middle, open the second half. Shout out to Yanni.
That was a crazy game. Matter of fact, I really hate that school. Really hate that school.
They're D1 now.
Really?
Yeah, they're D1.
So Merrimack went D1 and LIU posted D1 now too. Ain't nothing.
Mm-hmm. And now Franklin Pierce has a football team.
They're like they're the pace. Even
they're the new us. No, because
pace is nice now.
No, I'm kidding. So well, I think we beat them this year, but I think now it goes like St. A's, Pace, Franklin Pierce. Before it was just us, then Pace. Yeah. So now we're at least the third.
I hear we're like really, but we've been like, I hear there's a lot of close games against Stonehill. That's really all I care about. Like we've been really close to beating them. They got to get the trophy sooner or later. Sooner or later, guys. What's the team? What's the team in the conference you hated playing the most?
Conference. I'd say probably Assumption. Yeah. Just because I thought I hated their fans more than anything. But I just didn't like them. Like just how they almost felt like they were kind of like the billionaires of like the world. Like they, great that they were a good team, but it's just like the way they talked to us. Like I didn't like that at all. So it was like kicking me while I was down. Like we'd get worked by them because they were good, right? They were top dogs, no pun intended, top dogs in the conference. Them in New Haven, but like it just made it that much worse. Getting salt in the wound, hating them, and then getting your ass kicked by them. So
that was tough.
I hated them.
That was definitely,
Deontay Harris, shout out to Deontay Harris.
We really played that dude, man. He took that touchdown back on us.
Lightning in a bottle.
So what do you remember most from your last game?
Well, it sucked because my last game, I had to miss the last two.
Yeah,
with my ankle.
I remember that.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And it sucked because same type of thing. It was just kind of like I was late getting out to practice because I had a late class, and I immediately jumped in, and Coach Murph was like, "Hey, like run bolt, like run the seam." And so Fairweather had thrown the ball behind me. And so when I reached back to go get it, my cleat stayed in the ground, but my ankle just kept going. So I thought I just sprained it, but turns out fast forward to the summer, I broke it. There was like a fracture in there.
Oh,
so I had to get surgery on it in the summer after everything.
Oh, that's crazy.
But I think, trying to think. I don't even know if I have many memories of that season. It feels like it was a blur. I mean, I remember the LIU game, the Pace game.
No, we saw the weekend.
I'm trying to think who else.
Yeah.
We did see the weekend.
Yeah.
I was in a walking booth.
Yeah. Nah, man.
Yeah, shout out to Pops getting the limo and the pizza.
That was my senior speech. Never forget it.
But I wish I could do it over.
Huh?
I wish he saved me for last, but we was trying to go to the concert, so I was like, I feel like
I kept looking at the clock, and the limo driver texted me.
I'm looking at it like
I brought down the house.
I don't remember what you said.
I don't remember what I said either. I'm just talking about my ass.
But okay, so Lombard, man, how has the transition from, just being a football player to, quote unquote regular lifestyle?
Regular
How's
ass
that been
dude.
for you, man?
It's been good. It's been interesting, right? I think I've met more. Like I met a lot of athletes here in Austin too. So like I met a lot of dudes playing pickup basketball. So like one of my good friends here, he played quarterback in Nebraska. Um, like talking football with him, talking how they did things, like keeps you in the game, but you're not like physically in the game, which is nice. But one of my good friends who I also met here played football at UT, did a grad year at Arkansas. A lot of other dudes, like being around like kind of those athletes and just hearing like their perspective too. I think that's what's made it probably the easiest. But then they all play basketball now too, so it's just playing pickup ball with them. Um, and honestly, a lot of the stuff, like all the, as much as we hate saying it, only we can say it. But like as much as we sucked and we lost, like that's honestly helped me out so much in like kind of the real world and like career wise, just because like when things are bad,
Yeah.
there's nothing else you can do but just get up the next day and try and
Mm.
put your best foot forward and really give it all you
That's
have.
amazing.
And if it doesn't work out, then oh well, it's next. And then I think that was the same thing with us. I mean, people don't get how hard it is to get up every single week, every single morning, go to winter conditioning, go to spring ball, wake up, go to lift before class, spend all this time going out in the field and then not having the results that we're trying to get. People don't understand the impact that has on you from not only a physical standpoint, but from a mental standpoint.
Yeah, it definitely build character for sure. Um, even at least for me, like, yo, bro, my junior year of high school, bro, we ain't win a game. I did a lot of losing playing football. So it's like it's definitely preparing for like, bro, at least by senior year when we were losing, I was like, man, this shit life, bro. Like I'm still not in the sense of like this how it's gonna be, but it's like shit. You start looking at it like shit. I'm still breathing. Shit, I'm still gonna be. I'm gonna be straight. You know what I'm saying?
At the
Like
end
this
of
is
the
a
day, I
game.
didn't get hurt at
Yeah.
the end of the game.
Yeah, end of the game. Like I'm still blessed. I feel you on that. That definitely those some great words there, sir. So before we get out of here, we got some quick hitters for you. All right, quick
Ooh.
hitters. Um, what NFL player would you say you played like the most? Either linebacker or tight end.
Okay, so when I was coming out, like when I was in college at the time, it was Tyler Eifert.
Mm.
That was the guy I watched the most.
What was your favorite place
He's
to
my
play?
favorite. My favorite place to play, like we
Just in
talking
general,
in
like
like
your favorite
on
place
the road, like
all time.
all time. I think my favorite place I've ever played. I mean, you got to go with the Smurf turf at New Haven.
Ooh. Yeah, man, that was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun.
That was fun.
Turf or grass?
Home or
turf.
away?
Okay.
Away.
Who was your favorite player growing up?
Ooh, my favorite football player, or
You can give
basketball
us
player.
both. You can give us
That's
both of them.
Okay. I mean, football. I mean, naturally, is probably default. It was going to be actually it was Teddy Bruschi.
Oh, I like that.
Haven't heard anyone
As a
say that before.
linebacker, and then in basketball, was probably Kevin Durant. It was probably Kevin Garnett first, but then once Kevin Durant got drafted, it was KD. It's always been
That's
KD.
fire, man.
Nike or Adidas? Of course.
Nike. Close.
Favorite
As I wear Under Armour and
Stripes.
Adidas right now.
favorite team, basketball and football.
Oh, you know me. I'm through and through. Football, Patriots, basketball, Celtics, college basketball team, University of North Carolina.
Ooh.
College football team, not St. A's, but University of Texas.
Ooh.
Naturally.
All right, man.
I didn't think I'd adopt them, but here I am 4 years later.
You in a 2-minute drill. Out of all the quarterbacks you play with, who would you want running a 2-minute drill?
Give me Yanni.
YG, baby. Give me YG.
I don't want Ray to throw it out of bounds on 4th down. No,
Hey,
I'm just
Ray,
kidding,
we rock
Ray. I'm
with you,
just kidding, Ray. Shout out to Ray. That was one of my favorite memories ever.
He really did that. I couldn't believe that.
Nah, I mean, he was. I think that was his first game action since
Nah,
like he
it
tore
was
up both
tough.
of his knees. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, that was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Well, Coach Murph's reaction to it was
Like,
the funniest thing. But shout out to Ray. Ray's my guy. I love Ray.
It was 4th down. You just heard him yelling that shit.
I couldn't help it. That was.
Oh man, hey, Lombard, man, we appreciate having you on, bro. It's a pleasure.
No, it's a pleasure. I've been waiting for this for a long time, and glad we're finally able to do it. And yeah, you know the story. You guys are my family. You guys, we've been through a lot together. So
yeah, man, yeah,
brothers through
it's
and through.
Always a pleasure. We definitely we gonna get you on no clearance as well soon, man. So, but thank you for coming, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to everybody at St. A. Shout out to New Hampshire, man. We got the pride of New Hampshire with us, bro. The pride of New Hampshire.
603, baby. 603.
Hey, it's technically athletic, man. Thank you for listening. Peace.